I think, my worst habit, and probably still is right now, is I'm kind of running a few minutes behind all the time. I overcommit myself.
So, Rochelle, how would you help him with that?
Live from the Purple Cow Branding Studios.
Welcome to Network Today, where we take you from meeting people to
making money.
And I am Cheryl Powers. In case we haven't met,
I'm Rob Bliss.
In case you haven't met him, because we want to meet you on LinkedIn. I forget to tell people that.
I know it.
So Powers as in Austin, or Powers as in super. Somebody said, who's Austin Powers? I'm like, really? Okay, so Powers as in super and Bliss as in happiness is.
Yes.
So look us up on LinkedIn. We want to connect with you if we aren't already connected. And annual theme is networking. Stop. Today's topic is
breaking bad habits.
Yeah, breaking bad.
Breaking bad
habits. That is. There we go. An outstanding guest, stellar. Yeah. I think this is going to be a conversation you are going to be loved. You're going to love being a part of.
I'm taking notes on this.
Be loved.
I'm taking notes on this one, Cheryl.
You are.
I've got lots of bad habits.
I do too. And I have got a really great website for you.
Ooh.
Yes, this is fastcompany.com. Are you familiar with it?
Yes.
So
I love Fast Company.
I Googled breaking bad habits in networking. I think that's, or business networking, I think professional networking, because otherwise you go to all the software stuff, right?
Right,
it's all
right.
But I think that's what I did, professional networking. And this is what came up. These are 10 things we need to break.
Okay.
I'm going to give you the first 5.
Okay.
And then at the end of the show, we'll go through the last 5. All right? Because you're going to love this. Because there's a common theme every single show.
Okay.
Right? The first one is, and this includes my word of the week, and that is be vulnerable and share.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. And it made me think, so how is somebody not vulnerable? How do you think somebody's not vulnerable?
Well, I think they've shut the door. They're you can't get through the wall of who they really are. So they're not being transparent. They're not being authentic.
Yeah, they're going through the motions.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
it's a transaction.
Right.
For the last episode, right? It's a transaction, and not genuine. So here's number 2. This is the ongoing theme for everything. Follow through.
Oh God.
Yeah. Got to follow through, because the bad habit of not following through is a business killer. It's a networking business killer. It's a relationship business killer.
Yeah.
So when we say we're going to do something, do it. And I hope that goes without saying, but apparently most of the people I was telling, so I know I mentioned this last week in the episode, but again, I was just visiting with Brian Childers and we were talking about this, in that 90% of the people still, as often as I talk about networking, 90% of the people still don't follow through. Mm-hmm. They still don't circle back. They still don't do what they say they're going to do. And I write down, hey, you're going to introduce me to these people. Nada. It doesn't. 90% still don't follow through. We're not getting any better.
Wow.
So anyway, all right, number 3. This is a good one. Say no sometimes.
Whoa. Yes.
Isn't it crazy that then a bad habit that we have to break is the habit of saying yes? How do you feel about that for you?
Well, I need to learn how to say no, because I want to help people all the time. It's just part of my DNA, but it's hard. But yeah, you've got to be able to do that, because you can't have enough hours in a day to do what to do the follow-up that you're talking about.
That's exactly right. And so we only grow when we learn to say no, and we can say it nicely. We can say, no, not yet. No, not now. No, I can't, but they can. Right. So still be a solution provider, but without putting it on your plate saying, oh, okay, yeah, I'll do it for you. Right. So delegate. And then number 4, form a smaller network. So I did a tech tool recently on Slack, the app. The business communication tool.
Right.
That has now become a networking niche tool. So for those people who want to network in niches,
Right.
they're tapping into groups through the Slack tool. So
Wow.
finding smaller groups, it's not about knowing more people. It's Bob Odin, right?
Right.
It's about knowing fewer people and drilling deeper sometimes.
And, and that, reminds me too of how we've talked about in the past about forming your power team, small, anywhere from 6 to 10 people.
Yep. And that's good. And so number 5 is drop the agenda.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I know we are really working hard on helping people develop networking systems
Right.
so that they can track things. But there are times you just have to drop the agenda of a transaction.
Right.
Hey, you know what? I just want to get to know you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and those are the best conversations that are meaningful, that allow us to then, I think, be more top of mind.
Well, that's building a long-term relationship.
Yeah. So people are more likely to think of you because you had a curling discussion with them than they are because you do VoIP systems.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Unless today they needed VoIP systems. So those are my 5, and then I'll give the other 5 when we come back. But this is a really good site. So fastcompany.com, and we'll make sure that we include the link. What's coming up? And then we've got an outstanding discussion about breaking bad habits. And that is with Rochelle.
Ooh, I love Rochelle.
I do too. And then we'll end with some action items, some great takeaways for you that are actionable, implementable, and that's what you can expect. This is a power episode on breaking bad habits. I am so excited.
She's the person to do this, Cheryl, because, look what she brought me today.
I know.
Atomic Habits. I've wanted this book for like over a year now. Santa didn't give it to me in December this year, but Rochelle came through for me. And this is a must. So I can't wait till you tell us more about it.
That's right. And we want you to get to know Rochelle. So spell your whole name for us, because, in today's world, it could be spelled any way, but we want to make sure people find you on LinkedIn.
Sure. So Rochelle is Rochelle, and O'Brien, Obrien.
E-N.
Ooh, E-N.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the
Gotta
Irish
get the
way,
E.
right?
That's the Irish way.
Yeah. Yes. So the reason we wanted Rochelle to be our power guest on this topic is because she's not only a mom, a wife, a business owner, but you took over this business and had to kind of reinvent yourself and get the
Yes.
bad habits out of the way, right? So here's why we were so just stunned by her background. So business I can't even say it. Business intermediary, selling your business, helping you navigate the sales process. And she's an exit planning strategist, a business stager, a rattlesnake wrangler.
Yes. Just once. That's enough.
And the owner of Venture Opportunities. It's an M&A company, right?
Yes.
So you help take people into that mergers and acquisition process. So without further ado, let's begin this discussion on breaking bad habits, because that's a problem in networking.
Absolutely.
Big problem. Huge problem.
Especially for those of us who've been doing it way too long, made way too many mistakes. So what are some of the things, Rochelle, that when you were getting into the business ownership position, you're having to expand your own network, what are some of the things that were baggage from the old life into the new life that you had to get rid of?
Well, I think one of the main things is when you take over a business, it's overwhelming. There's so many moving parts. So one of the things I learned in one of my favorite books, Atomic Habits, is breaking things down into small pieces. So instead of thinking I have to change everything at once, I started just switching small things up. How could I make this 1% better? How could I change this? Or what small thing could I do today? I think that's how I've been able to sort of transition and make it my own.
Wow. And I guess as a mom, too, that's the only way to be able to manage things.
Yes. So maybe you can't clean the whole house. You can clean this section of the kitchen.
That's
But it's better than not being able to do anything.
Yeah.
It's a start.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
So, Rob, what are some of the habits that were bad for you that you had to break?
I think, my worst habit, and probably still is right now, is I'm kind of running a few minutes behind all the time. I overcommit myself.
So, Rochelle, how would you help him with that?
It's easy to do, is to overcommit because you want to do everything.
Right.
And I think that's big in networking too, especially in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. You could network yourself from sunup to sundown
Right,
all
exactly.
day. And
Right.
it doesn't do any good to have a stack of cards on your desk if
Yeah.
you don't follow up with them. So I think it's really just scaling back and making a list. I think you have a sheet that you fill out to
Right.
make sure
Right.
what networking opportunities are the best ones. So go through that and maybe cut out some of the ones that aren't the most beneficial to you.
Absolutely.
I'm just going to sit here and sip my coffee while you help him.
I have the same problem. It's easy to want to go to everything because it's fun, enjoyable. You meet new people. But if you can't keep up with them and follow up, do your one-on-one so you really get to know them, it doesn't do very much good.
Well, absolutely. I totally agree with you. And then the other problem too, as you're running from networking event to networking event, you have a couple of appointments in between, and one always runs longer, whatever. And again, I've got to learn, like what you said, scale back.
Yes, scale back, pace yourself a little
Yeah.
bit. I've also tried to learn to embrace Zoom. I love meeting in person, face to face,
Right.
but sometimes Zoom just helps you be able to talk with more people
Mhm.
Yeah.
and squeeze in an
Oh,
extra
that's good
meeting
advice.
or something.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
met with Linda Fisk, had that
Yeah.
virtual networking discussion on one of our recent podcasts, and it was a great reminder that it's kind of necessary.
Yes.
Not the only thing, but it's a thing, right?
It's a thing.
It's a thing,
It's one of the
especially
things.
for busy moms, wives, and business owners. So here's my bad habit. You can help me, and you probably have found a brilliant way to handle this. But I say yes. I think most of us have yes in our heart, right? We say yes way too often, and then I find that I'm overcommitted, but I never want to back out on my commitment. So I will work. My husband will tell you my laptop never leaves my lap, right? I don't really watch TV. I'm always on my laptop. I'm doing something. I work till the wee hours of the morning. Then I'm up in the morning. I'm getting more done. And then into the weekend, then I'm having to do, whatever, more stuff just to get it done. And I'm like, it's not healthy.
It's
So
not.
my bad habit
Yes.
is not scheduling personal time.
Yes, that's a hard one. That's a hard one. And I've recently tried to do some of that, and I'm doing more of time blocking on my calendar,
Okay.
and I'm actually putting in, personal time or work on this project time, not just my calls and my meetings and, small projects that need to be done.
Right.
Putting in time to work on my business, not just get daily tasks done. But I think that's something you can do too, and start saying no to easy things.
Like,
I don't know, things you don't particularly want to do. So somebody wants you to do some small thing, maybe you can delegate, push it off.
That's
Find
my word
somebody
of the
else.
year.
Delegate is a great thing. I'm
Yeah.
learning
It's my-
that myself.
Wow. Yes. Delegating is when I came into January and I'm like, we've talked about this a lot, but I had to think like, what do I need to change this year? And delegating. So that's my word of the year. And then divesting is my kind of backup word. And it's, you have to get stuff off your plate and bring other people into the fold. Now you've been able to break bad habits too, that a lot of business owners who start their business are really guilty of, and that's doing it all.
Yes, it's easy to get into that rut.
Maybe
But-
it's a money saving thing. Maybe it's a control issue. Maybe it's I just don't know how to hire people or work with teams. But I've seen you build kind of like a power team. Like you have a lot of alliances that seem to really help you with your business.
Yes, and there's many intelligent people out there that know much more than I do in their specific field. So if you just utilize people and draw on their strengths, then it makes everybody a better team.
Okay.
What would you say is, in our networking world, in being business owners, we're going 100 miles an hour all the time.
Yes.
And so it's like we're our excuse is going to be, I don't have time. What's the one thing that can sort of just stop this, where I can just slow down for a moment and says, I've got to change my habits. I got to develop good habits. How can I do that? How can I put on the brakes?
I think it's just plan a little bit and start small.
Okay.
Add something. So for me, I brought you this book. I have the Audible version and the Kindle because I listen in my car.
Okay.
So that's how I get most of my book reading done, for business and for fun. I listen. I read with my ears more than my eyes. So and I found different ways to change that. Or
Okay.
if, you want to work on a task that you don't really want to do, then I reward myself at the end. Break it up into small parts.
Okay.
So if it's something that's going to take a couple hours, I put 30 minutes on it. So I'm, focused and turn off my phone, turn off the dinger on my email. So I'm actually focused for those 30 minutes and I get more done than I would in the hour.
Oh,
That's
I need
good.
to turn off the phone. Yes.
There would be my other bad habit. I have email alerts all the time. And although I turn off the sound, I still somehow I want to look at it. I don't know why I want to look at it. And then I'm mad at myself that I looked at it. Now I can't stop thinking about it. So I'm like, okay, now I can't focus on whatever.
Right.
So I'm
Yes.
going to go just answer the email. And now I'm totally, and I've heard there is no true multitasking. Did you know that?
Yes, I've heard that.
So we think we're multitasking, but you can't do two things completely simultaneously.
So everything's taking longer and you're not doing as good of a job.
Yeah. I'd like to believe that that's not true, but I think it's true. So
Unfortunately, I think it is. But I have to turn my email off my computer. So
Okay.
I can't even think about the email coming up
wow.
and move my phone.
No email, no phone, and then you got just
Yes.
your task in front of you. So, and I want to, if we could talk about this for a long, long time, but as we kind of wrap up this part of the conversation, I'd like to know how you work your family time into all of this, because you have kids' schedules that don't necessarily align with your work schedules. How do you handle that?
It takes a village. So I'm fortunate that my parents live very close to me. And my father-in-law lives with us. So we have a lot of people around us. So I have a lot of people that can help out. My parents are retired. And I also have an assistant, and I email her the school calendars. She puts them, all the school alert emails.
Mm-hmm.
She puts them on my calendars for me. And I have shared calendars. And so I've had to jump into technology a bit, which I did kicking and screaming. But we've got it on. So we have shared calendars. And so, like I forgot to send my child today with a blanket and a pillow for slumber day at school. So I'm probably in trouble when I get home. So I've put them all on my calendar. I've got them lined up for the rest of the week.
So it sounds like a great bad habit to break is to plan in advance, help get yourself organized, so then you can bring in other people that can work through that organization process with you.
Correct.
Right. So,
And it's a skill to learn. Delegating is a skill.
Yeah, totally agree with that. Is there any type of tools that you use? When you mentioned time blocking, is it just like through your Outlook or Gmail, or is there anything special out there that you've seen that you could kind of recommend to us?
Mostly just the email, the time blocking on my phone, my email calendar.
Okay.
all right. So you know what we're going to ask as
I
we wrap
do.
this up. So
I do.
a little known fact about yourself.
And I've been thinking about this today. So I think the best one is a recent one. Is we recently rescued a dog who had to have her leg amputated. So I have a 3-legged dog,
Oh my gosh.
and she's the cutest thing ever. And you never know she's missing a leg.
Wow.
So she runs
Wow.
around and she can go up and down stairs.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we're having fun with her.
That's an honorable pet parenting
Yes.
Yes.
venture. Yes. And they don't know, do they? I mean,
She
can't we
doesn't
learn a
seem to
lesson
know.
from that?
Like she adapted really fast.
Your adaptability. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
A mama, a wife, a business owner, and a 3-legged pet owner. Right?
Wow.
Yes.
All right. So you want to connect with Rochelle on LinkedIn for sure. Is there another place to connect with you?
LinkedIn is the best way. I
Yeah.
also have a website. It's Biz Dealmaker. So it's BIZDealmaker.com.
All right. Wonderful. Well, we can't wait to
Thank
have
you.
you back. Thank you. And we'll be back. All right. Another great discussion. I'm better because I know Rochelle.
Well, absolutely. And, this is such a, something that I need to really focus on, because breaking bad habits, I've got a ton of them. And again, she really put it in perspective for me, and it's given me some motivation. I've got to get back on track. So
As do we both. And when's the best time to start?
now.
That's right. Okay, so here are the last 5 of this fastcompany.com article. And I really like this. So number 6, if you're taking notes, write this down. Make meetups a priority. And what the author here is talking about meetups being networking events. And the author says, I didn't like going to events, never felt it was an important part of networking because I didn't think it was a strategy. I'm going to guess that they thought it was just a social function,
Yeah.
right? But he said, I began to work it in because it is part of the networking strategy.
Right.
Need to go out and actually meet people, make it a priority. Don't take silence the wrong way. What happens when somebody goes dark on you?
Well, I think first of all, I get negative thoughts.
Do you? You start
You
making
know?
stuff up. Oh my gosh, they must have hated my shirt color.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't like my new glasses.
Right.
So I think this is really a sage point, and that is don't take it the wrong way. It typically means life just happened.
Yeah.
And
99% of the time.
that's right. And so when somebody tells me, hey, so and so didn't get back with me or whatever, I say, hey, just, reach back out, put on your list to call them back in, 6 weeks or whatever, make a phone call, send another email, just find out how they're doing, because sometimes we get buried in stuff in life.
Right.
And so we forget. All right. So number 8, download a calendar app. So I thought that was interesting that they said this. Do you have a calendar app?
I
on your phone?
I use my Outlook.
Yeah. Okay. And I use my Gmail calendar.
Yeah.
So that I get pinged all the time. But we're talking about, I think, so that you can make
Right.
instant meetings right there, or Calendly, obviously, is another big one, along with many others. But be an active listener is number 9.
Mm.
So that's a good habit to have. The bad habit is spewing. So being a good listener. And I have to remind myself, because sometimes I get busy, I forget to ask people questions about, so what do you think about this? Instead, I'll start going, well, this is what I think about this, right? And instead of asking them what they think first, I think, well, what I am thinking is very important. So you must think it's important too. So I'm just going to tell you, you know what I mean?
Right,
so
right.
I thought that was really good. Be an active listener. And for me, ask questions. And number 10, don't believe the social media hype. And aim for quality over quantity. Too many social media things, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
really narrow down, zero in on
Right.
the quality of something
Right.
versus quantity. So I thought that this was all good. Oh, look, there are a few more on here that I didn't notice. I thought that was 10. So and make your outreach efforts meaningful. I'll just end on that one. There are a few more down here at the bottom, but that's number 11. Make your outreach efforts meaningful.
Mm.
So instead of just blasting everybody, seeing who's
Right.
gonna, right? Let's be really intentional,
Well,
authentic.
I think that kind of reminds me too, is that when you're in the networking scenario at an event, we're taught get one-on-ones with everybody, and
Yeah.
I think what you just said there was be more intentional.
Yeah.
And just don't say let's have a one-on-one. You need to do some due diligence.
Yeah.
And make sure that it is quality.
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
Hey, I was looking at and I saw that you went to UNT, and I know I went to UNT, and I'm making that up. I didn't really,
Right.
but but you find some common ground, or you say,
Right.
hey, I love that you're part of this organization, or I love these posts that you're doing. Kind of, I want to find out where your heart is coming from, and see if I
Yeah.
can refer you people.
Absolutely.
But yeah. So being intentional about that. So there we go. There's at least some starting steps to breaking bad habits. Do you have some 3 killer action items for us, Rob?
I've got the action items here is, I've got one of my ways to study this breaking bad habits was I was given this book, Tiny Habits. And again, the whole thing, what my number one takeaway here for the action item is take small steps. We always start off with breaking a habit it's overpowering.
Yeah.
And again, we fail the first day and then we quit, kind of like a New Year's resolution.
That's right.
This was just like taking small steps. And one of the first thing the author said was, first thing when you get out of bed, put your feet on the floor, just say, it's going to be a great day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
So you've got that positive energy going, flowing through you. Where's my second one here? I wrote down oh gosh, darn it. Here it is. Here we go. Second was, again, be positive.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we're so get caught up in that negativity of it, and therefore you just, how do you form good habits? How do you take the bad habits to the good habits? You've got to be positive about it, even if there is a slight little setback or whatever.
Yeah. Even if you're not accomplishing what you wanted to accomplish, if you focus on kind of like we do with the Grand Slam, right? Hey, a lot of negativity. So we want to focus on that one success, even if it was a small one, so that we can continue to move forward.
Absolutely. And that's why in Network Today, we talk about changing the networking, mindset is, and again, it's our home personal mindset, got to have that positive mental attitude.
Yeah.
And the last point was, do this thing daily, make the commitment of that. And again, going back to point number one is take small steps. Don't make these grandiose plans or goals. Make them small, Cheryl.
Yeah. Like golf. It's a game of inches.
Mhm.
That's what they say all the time. Hey, you
Yes.
can be the biggest driver in the world, but if you can't play the game of inches, you're
Right.
not going to win the game.
Right.
So my husband's like, yeah, that little old lady, she beat me on the course. All she do is like little stroke, little stroke, little stroke. And I'm just trying to kill the ball. And there she is. She's passing me. Like, so yeah, life's a game of inches. So hopefully this was helpful to you. Hopefully you enjoyed Rochelle as much as I did.
Yeah.
So Breaking Bad. Let's get rid of the bad stuff. Let's usher in the good.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. And we want to hear from you. info@networktodaydfw.com. You'll see that at the bottom of the screen. info@networktodaydfw.com. And send us your thoughts. Make sure you subscribe to the email list. We're not going to spam you. We don't sell it. You don't sell it, do you?
I don't sell
I
it.
didn't think so. So, and that way weekly, you'll get this information in your inbox along with Rob's library review
Right.
and my tech tools.
And again, I just want to remind everyone, we would love your help in supporting us by subscribing to us on YouTube. And, go to our website under resources. There's some good stuff on there, Cheryl.
There are. And register for the conference.
Register for the
6/23.
conference. It's going to be awesome. God, we're in May now.
I know. Summerfest.
Summerfest.
Summerfest 23 at
Gonna be
TK's
awesome.
in Addison. It
Gonna be
is going to be
awesome.
killer. And
Here we go.
you, my friend,
Let's have a great week.
Network Today, where we take you from meeting people to
Making money.
faster. We'll see you next week.
This has been a Purple Cow production.